Alabama by Lynyrd Skynyrd for acoustic guitar for beginners. If you're not a beginner, I recommend you check out the advanced version for this, which has a few extra notes and is a little more challenging. For beginners, we're going to start, and for advanced too actually, we'll start with this D chord. To play a D chord, your index finger, that's finger 1 for guitarists, goes to the 2nd fret on the 3rd string. That makes an A note. Sounds like that. Your 3rd finger, that's the ring finger, is going to go to the 3rd fret on the 2nd string. Makes a D note. Sounds like that. And your 2nd finger, that's the middle finger for guitarists, is going to go to the 2nd fret on the 1st string. It makes an F sharp note and sounds like that. To start the tune, you actually play the 4th string, which is open currently. Again, for guitar players, we count from the thinnest string S1, like this. 1, 2, 3. String 4. You pick string 4 one time, and then you rest on it. By the way, string 4 is called D. So it's a good idea when you're practicing this to say the name of the note, and if you can, and if you'd like, match the pitch with your voice too, like so. D, rest. That's the first part. After that, you pick that same open 4th string D again, only this time instead of resting after, you let it ring for twice the amount of time that you did the first time you picked it. That'll sound like this. D, and, so I put an and after the D as a placeholder for the second half of the length of that time. So far, if we put the first part and the second part together, we'll have something that sounds like this. D, rest, D, and. After that, we take the right hand and we skip over to the 2nd string that we're holding the 3rd fret on currently. This also happens to be a D. It's an octave higher, sounds like this. D. So if we add that to what we have so far, I'll give you a ready and to start. Ready and D, rest, D, and D. Nice job. I'll do that a little slower for you. Ready and D, rest, D, and D. Nice job. So notice you've been picking down the whole time so far. At this point, we're going to pick up on the 3rd string, which we're holding the 2nd fret on. That makes it an A note. It sounds like that. So if we add that now to what we have so far, we'll get something like this. Ready, and D, rest, D, and D, A, 1, and. I like to say 1 and as you're holding the A after you say the note A, because this note lasts for 1.5 beats. So every syllable we've been saying has been lasting for a half beat. So we need 3 syllables for this one. So I just say A for the first 8th note, and then for the next quarter note, which it's tied to, we have a 1 and. So if we have everything so far, it'll sound like this. Ready, and D, rest, D, and D, A, 1, and. Nice job. At this point, we go to our next chord. It looks like this. It's called C add 9. And I'm going to do that change again so you can see very slowly. I'm going to explain what I'm doing here. My 3rd finger, that's the ring finger for guitarists, is staying where it is on this D. They call that a pivot finger for guitarists. That kind of anchors you down. Finger 2, that's the middle for guitarists, lifts up and comes all the way over to the 5th string onto the 3rd fret. It's a C note. Sounds like that. And the index finger, that's the 1st finger for guitarists, is going to hop over 1 string to the 2nd fret on the 4th string. That's an E note, and it sounds like that. So this chord that you're looking at here and currently holding, if you're following along, is a C add 9. The D here on the 2nd string that we pivoted on, that's the note that makes it the add 9. And if you strum the whole thing, you want to leave out the 6th string. Don't play the thickest string, just strum. First 5 strings has a nice ambient quality to its sound. But for Sweet Home Alabama, when we get to this chord, we're going to pick the same rhythm that we picked on the D chord, except that instead of picking the 4th string, now we'll pick the 5th string, the C note. So if we apply the pattern from the previous chord to this chord, we should get something like this. Ready, and string number 5, rest, string 5 again, and string 2, string 3, 1, and. So this time I'll say the note names, just to review them. This note on the 5th string is C. We're going to rest after it, then we'll pick the C again, C, and we go over to the 2nd string, which we're still holding a D on, D, and then we come up on the 3rd string, which is now open, so now it's a G note, G, 1, and. So that's what we do on the 2nd chord, the C add 9. So we'll review that one more time while saying the notes. Ready, and C, rest, C, and D, G, 1, and. Nice job. At this point, we'll go back to the beginning. So to get back to our D chord, lift fingers 1 and 2, leave finger 3 down to pivot, and put finger 1 on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string A, and then finger 2 on the 2nd fret of the 1st string, which makes an F sharp, although we don't actually play that note in Sweet Home Alabama yet. So we'll go from the beginning now. Remember to start with picking the 4th string this time. Ready, and D, rest, D, and D, A, 1, and C add 9 now. C, rest, C, and D, G, 1, and from here, we're going to a G chord, which means we have to bring finger 1 and 2 over 1 string, both of them, to get to the 3rd fret on the 6th string, which is a G note. Sounds like that. And the 2nd fret on the 5th string with your 1st finger makes a B note. Sounds like that. One other thing we want to add to this is the pinky on the 3rd fret of the 1st string makes a high G. Sounds like that. When we get to this chord, we'll start the same way we've started the previous 2 chords, like this. Pick the 6th string this time, rest, then pick it again, hold it, and then we're just going to strum the chord. And 2, and. So it lasts for 2 entire beats. Call that a half note in 4/4 time, which this song is in. So if we add that to what we have so far, back on the D now, notice the whole time this 3rd finger is just staying on that D note on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. Doesn't need to go anywhere. We'll play this together from the beginning, and this time I'm going to say the string numbers for you because you do have to switch the string that your bass note is on. So ready, and string 4, rest, 4, and 2, 3, 1, and C add 9 now. String 5, rest, 5, and 2, 3, 1, and now your G chord. G, string 6, rest, 6, and strum, and 2, and. Nice job. After that, a fill comes, but let's run through that whole pass one more time, this time saying the note names. Starting on your 4th string, which is a D. Ready, and D, rest, D, and D, C, rest, C, and D, G, 1, and G chord now. G, rest, G, and strum, and 2, and. Nice job. We'll do that one more time, just a little faster, and then we'll go into the next part, which is the fill. So from the D again, set it up. If you need to pause the video and practice these chords, please do so. We'll start it again now. Ready, and D, rest, D, and D, A, 1, and C, add 9 chord. C, rest, C, and D, G, 1, and G, rest, G, and strum, and 2, and. Nice job. Next we have the fill. At full speed it'll sound something like this. So let's break it down. Starts with an open A. That's your 5th string open, counting from the thinnest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's your 5th string. Play it open. Next we're going to take our first finger and hammer on. What is a hammer on? It's quite literal. Your index finger is just going to act like a hammer and come straight down onto the string. And it's important to remember that it's a percussive technique, and whenever you're doing anything percussive, you want to play through whatever instrument it is you're hitting, which means that it's good to imagine that you're aiming for something back here with your finger as you do it. Don't let anything stop your finger except for the guitar neck. That's what it sounds like. So you play the A string, hammer on to the 2nd fret on that same string, which is a B. So it might help us to say something like this. A, hammer to B. Nice. Next we're going to play our 4th string open, which is our D. Sounds like that. So if we add that to what we have so far for our fill, we'll have something that sounds like this. Ready, and A, hammer to B, D. And when you play the D, you can lift up the 1st finger. It's going to go to the 2nd fret on the 4th string next. This makes an E note. Sounds like that, and we're going to pick that note. So what we have so far, if we add that, should sound something like this. Ready, and A, hammer to B, D, E. At this point, we're going to pull off. The pull off is the counterpart technique to the hammer on. And again, it's very literal. Notice my right hand's here. I'm not picking because my left hand acts like the pick, going to the side to create friction. So the hammer on, you come straight into the neck. The pull off, you go to the side to create friction and cause the string to vibrate. We pull off to D, like I just did. That's the next part. Let's add that to what we have so far. Starting on the open A. Ready, and A, hammer to B, D, E, pull off to D. Nice job. The next note. 1st finger goes back to the 2nd fret on the 5th string. That's a B again. We'll pick that note. So if we add that now, we'll get something that sounds like this. A, hammer to B, D, E, pull off to D, B. Nice job. Next part, we're going to take finger 2. It's the middle finger for guitarists. Bring it over to the 2nd fret on the 3rd string. This is an A note. We're going to pick this note. It sounds like that. Let's try to add that to what we have so far. Starting on the open A again. Ready, and A, hammer to B, off to D, B, second finger on second fret, A. Nice job. Last part of the fill. Pull off to open G. Again, same technique as before. Using the left hand finger as your picking mechanism. So, let's try the whole fill. Ready, and A hammer to B, D, E, pull off to D, B, A, pull off to G. Nice job. You might notice that I used my second finger instead of the first finger. You can interchange them, but just for the sake of consistency, I'll do it again for you using the fingering that we talked about earlier. So, ready, and A hammer to B, D, E, pull off to D, B, A, pull off to G. Nice job. Now's a good time to pause the video, practice this lick a few times before you go on, because we are going to now put the first part and the second part together. This and this. Or I'll do it the way I showed you. Notice you can use second finger or first finger for that middle part. We'll do that slowly together. So, starting with the D chord from the beginning of the song. Remember, have your pick on the 4th string. Ready? And D, rest. D, and B, A, 1, and C add 9 chord. C, rest. C, and D, G, 1, and quick switch to a G chord. G, rest. G, and strum. And 2, and now the fill. A hammer to B, D, E, pull off to D, B, A, pull off to G. Now we're going to repeat the first riff. D, rest. D, and D, A, 1, and C add 9 chord. C, rest. C, and D, G, 1, and to your G chord. G, rest. G, and strum. And 2, and. Nice job. Now there's a second fill. This is the acoustic guitar version, so just so you know, on the electric guitar version they do a bend. We're going to substitute that with a slide because the bend on the acoustic is too much to do as a beginner at this point, and it's also not really good for the bridge of your guitar if you're playing an acoustic. It looks like this at full speed. And if we break it down, it starts here on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. That's an A note again. Sounds like that. We're going to pull off with the index finger to the open G again. I moved my hand up here just to show you, but you should keep your right hand positioned down here by the strings as you're doing this, because you're going to pick that same G string again now, open. So you've got 3 notes so far. An A, pull off to G, and then pick the G again. It'll sound like this. Ready, and A, pull off to G, G. After that, we're going to do the same sequence of techniques, except using the 3rd finger on the 4th fret of the same string, 3rd string. Makes a B note. Sounds like that. It's actually the same pitch as your 2nd string open. So it's a good reference point for you, and you can use it to tune the guitar also. We'll pick this B, then we'll pull off to the open G, and then we'll pick the open G again. So we've got 6 notes so far. We've got an A, pull off to G, pick the open G again, then we've got the B with the 3rd finger on the 4th fret of the 3rd string, we pull off to G, and then we pick that G again. So let's put that together. Ready, and A, pull off to G, pick the G again, B, pull off to G, pick the G again. Now for our last technique. It's a slide. Looks like that. And the first note that you pick is this 4th fret on the 3rd string, the B note that we had before. But this time the B will be a grace note. That means that as soon as it's played, you leave it to go to the next note. So as soon as you pick it, you literally slide down to the 7th fret, which is a D note up there. Sounds like that. To get the slide to sound properly, you must maintain pressure on the string as you slide, and make sure that you get the initial note to sound. Even though you do leave it immediately, you do need it to sound for a split second before you leave it. You can try it slow at first. As a beginner, it can be rough on the fingers. If you don't have calluses on your fingers, I'll show you mine there. You see they have marks in them. I don't feel any pain at all when I'm doing this. And if you practice slides quite a bit on the thicker strings of the acoustic, it will accelerate the development of your calluses as a beginner, and then you can play also without pain, which would be nice. So that's the last part. I like to say B slide to D. So if we put that together with the other parts for this fill, we'll have something that sounds like this. Ready, and A, pull off to G, G, B, pull off to G, G, B slide to D, and now we repeat from the very beginning of the tune. So to recap, we've got the first part with the 3 chords. I'm going to do it quickly so you can see. Then we've got fill 1, which sounds like this. Then we go back to the chords again. And then fill 2, which we just talked about. Put them all together and you'll get something that sounds like this. So let's go through it slowly and practice it together now. The whole thing. From here on out on this video, we'll just be playing the riff, and I will be going steadily faster each time, so you can try and play along. If it gets too fast, please pause the video and practice it on your own. Ready? And D, rest, D, and D, A1, and C, rest, C,